All right, welcome to another episode of Talk Data to Me with myself, Craig Steward. Yeah, really good to be back in the swing of things. I had one of these with Yaku Dutoy from Vodacom the other day. Really good conversation around the future of data science in South Africa. And now a returning guest, actually, Dr. Andy Mabaso from Altron. Andy, how's it going? Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you as well, Craig. Hope everything is good on your side.
Yeah, all good. The year is absolutely flying by. Yeah, I actually can't believe how quickly the years go these days.
Yeah.
So yeah, but all good. Andy, return guest to the show. We had a conversation last year. I even
Yeah.
forget the dates in the lead up to DataFest. You guys are involved again. Thanks very much. Always good to have you guys involved. It's one of the sort of most watched episodes. I'd love to say we're as famous as Mr. Beast on YouTube, but for our own small little data conversation did fairly well. So obviously always great to talk to you and loads of interesting things. Yeah, we're going to be talking about AI adoption is about people. It's not about the process. It's not about the technology. All those things are relatively easy, I suppose, to kind of get into place. But it's about people, right? Like,
Yes.
you've got to get the whole organization on board. And it's obviously such a massive topic right now. Maybe you can give us, a little bit of your thoughts on where we're at from a, AI point of view in South Africa and maybe globally. And then, yeah, give us some idea about, why people are so important. How do you become AI native as an organization?
Yeah. 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 There's a lot to unpack there, Craig, and I'm sure we'll unpack as we go.
Yeah,
But I just think, business leaders need to see this technology not as a thing to be overlaid over your business processes or what you are doing as an organization, but to see it as another tool in their toolbox. And I think as soon as people realize that, it starts to change from something I have to do to, okay, how do I make my beer taste better, for my customers?
yeah,
And how can I leverage this tool to help me do that better? We just seen that people just, all over the place do it the other way around. We almost do things to serve AI as opposed to, the other way around. So I'll give you an example. Many of our customers come to us and they go, we're not doing AI right now because our data is a mess. Our data is it's just all over the place. Things are disaggregated. We need to first clean it up, get single view of customer, consistency, data quality up, etc. And then we can start to do AI because it needs clean data. But what we miss about that is actually AI is really good with unstructured data. And we
yeah,
can actually leverage it to help us to detect the anomalies and go, actually, this might be the same record and it's potentially just swapped, here or there, and actually help you to clean data. Right. So that's just one really simple example. I was talking to a friend from the FSI space, the other day, and he was saying, look, they've been running a single view of customer project for the last 18 years and they've never, completed it.
yeah,
When I joined Altron, we were similarly running a view of single view of customer across our IT services. And it was 18 months in the going with no progress. We started using AI to help us do that as a tool. And I can tell you now, we've finally got a single view of customer across all of our IT services segment
yeah,
businesses. So
yeah.
that's just one example of how AI can be a tool we use to unlock human potential as opposed to something we need to serve and feed it with stuff and whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think let's maybe carry on with that thread for a little bit. I think I've seen it so much where people are like AI is kind of the ending that we need to get to. Like we have an
Yeah.
AI agent, etc., in the business, but they don't really see it from AI can enable your business in terms of things like data quality,
Correct.
remediation, flagging certain things. I'm doing some research into governance, risk, and compliance at the moment, and looking how AI can enable that, not sort of the
Yeah.
management of AI. And I think that's maybe where people are getting it wrong. It seems that it can actually help your business. It's not just about being at the end of the customer sort of journey, but actually utilizing it for your operational excellence, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. In Altron, we've got 4 tenets that we use to think about AI. The first tenet is how can we use AI to empower our leadership? Again, it starts with people, right? So if your leadership is not empowered, if they're not trained to use AI, to understand the technology, they're not familiar with it, often the blockers start from there, right? Where people just don't understand why I need to fund something like this because I'm just not familiar with it. That's not the approach we took at Altron. In fact, I personally made sure our entire exco of the group exco plus the group leadership team is trained on AI, right? So how to use it, how to do proper prompts, how to do data analysis with AI, etc. So our entire exco has been trained on that, so that when they go out and speak to our customers, right, they can talk from first experience. And then secondly, when employees are going, hey, you can do this, you can do that, they know exactly intuitively, right, what they're talking about. The second tenet is an empowered workforce. And for us, that includes the right policies that you need to have in place. It's a thing that we like to say at Altron, that lead with safety at the frontier. Safety as a feature and not as something that you overlay on top of the technology. Because many of our customers, to be frank with you, take a heavy governance and compliance checklist process, and they bring that to AI, and then most people just feel like they are just blocked from being able to do things.
It's too scary, too risky.
Yeah, exactly. Too scary. Can't upload my data, etc., etc. We take the other approach as well, which is how do we make sure that safety is a feature? Like it's almost impossible for you to do something wrong. So that's what we've done in empowering our workforce. We've actually partnered with Udemy to create a custom learning path for Altron employees around how we would like to see AI used within the organization. The third tenet is embedding AI within our business processes. And these things, you don't have to think complex. Basic things like how do you generate marketing content? How do you use AI to analyze data to better understand client demand? How do you use AI to help you with data collection? How do you use AI to help you with analyzing security logs? And so on and so on it goes, right? Every single business has administration, right? That's why we call it business administration. Can we use AI to either optimize those processes or even reimagine it, end to end, and help us to deliver those processes better? So that's the third tenet for us. And the last tenet is the customer view, right? It's all about the customer, right? AI hasn't fundamentally changed what organizations do. And I think this is what people misunderstand. You still have to make your beer taste better than the next guy for you to be able to win in the eyes of your customers. And so for us, it's about how do we use this new tool to, one, service our customers better, respond to them quicker than before, ensure that our products deliver value more consistently, better, faster, cheaper than the next guy. I mean, that's exactly how we've been running businesses for the last, however many centuries, right? So nothing has changed in that regard. You've just got a new tool. And so, like I said, we see AI as a tool that can potentially help unlock human potential. We don't see it as a thing where we must be the servants to this great new technology, and they are going to be the overlords. I think that's there's definitely a space for that in the research arena, but I think in business, for us, we see it as a tool that can help us to achieve our goals faster.
Yeah, I think the sort of the stigma or the sensationalism around AI is going to take over the world, and the world as we know it's going to change so drastically is great for podcasts and other conversations and things like that, but it's not that dire, I think. Or maybe I'm just naive to that. But the key thing I kind of picked out of all of that, Andy, was really about sort of in my mind, it's about finding the value for the user within AI, or utilizing AI to help them be better at their jobs, therefore be better for your business, therefore be better for your customers. Is that kind of sum it up?
Absolutely. I mean, everything is about the customer, right? Every organization ultimately has a customer, and you get paid based on how much value you deliver to a customer, and profit is how much your customers value, whatever it is that you're delivering. That's exactly what it is. And so when you empower a leadership, or when you empower employees, or you improve your business processes, you are doing all of that so that the beer that you're delivering to a customer tastes so much better than before. So it's always been like that, and I often advise businesses to not think of it any differently to how they've thought about it before. Yes, it is a new transformative technology, and maybe it does things that seem like it mimics, human potential. But it cannot. I can tell you, as someone that is in the field and has been in research in this area, we are quite far away from a space where we can replace humanity. That's just not something that is in the short term. Even artificial general intelligence, by the way, that's still not going to replace you, because the essence of who you are as Craig is not what you do. It's not your tasks, etc. There's just so much more to you as a person than just that, right? So often I think when people go, AI is going to replace jobs, it's going to replace people, I think they mean specific tasks can be replaceable, but the person can't be replaced. Personhood is a much broader concept than just what I do, right? As a person, I'm adaptable. I can be retrained to do something else. I can move up a layer and start to do a higher level job, right? More creative job, because the mundane jobs are being done. So I think that's what people mean when they go, we will replace people. No, I think that's true. You will replace tasks. But as a person, because you're adaptable, you'll adapt and start to do other things.
Yeah. And I think that, kind of some of the articles I see at the moment, or references to articles at the moment, is, the big four advisory accounting firms are going to replace their article clerks with AI, all that sort of things. Like, you could do that, but then you won't actually end up with a CFO who's got all the foundational knowledge. So while it seems very efficient and cost effective, no one will then go into becoming an accountant. And even if they did, how do they get past level 1? Because that's doing the articles, right? And doing the audits, like all CAs for eternity have done.
And why would I pay for it, right? I mean, if it's a commodity and that I have access to as well, why would I pay that firm to do that advisory for me? So I just think, again, we haven't thought about the economics of this at all. I think people, grossly kind of simplify, what's going to happen. What I think for me it highlights is, the fact that human value will just be that much more highlighted. We'll value the things where the human touch is present way more than the things that are commoditized. It's just the nature of the history of the world. And so, yes, in an advisory case, maybe some of the research could be automated 80% of the way, by AI. But that final touch to go, dude, I know this person in this organization, or I know this specific example. I know the person exactly. This is how they did it. In fact, I can bring them into the room to tell you how they experienced that. I mean, that stuff is invaluable. And AI doesn't have that, right? At this stage, our AI systems are stateless, right? So you chat to it the next day, and it's forgotten what you've spoken about, right? So for me, even artificial general intelligence is not going to replace people. That's just a sufficiently, intelligent, and I put that in quotation marks, system that can apply its knowledge in a wide range of areas. And again, it depends on how you define all of that. I think there is space for what we call artificial super intelligence, where the AI can generate its own original data, original thinking, original thoughts. But again, that's in the research arena. That's nowhere near something that is practical right now. So I think the people that go AGI is going to replace job, like, calm down a bit. Yes, maybe irresponsible leaders that don't understand artificial intelligence might think that's the way to go. But I actually think it might make your beer taste worse. I think the only way you can make your beer taste better is to empower humanity and unleash the potential of humanity, so that we can make the beer taste better, faster, quicker, safer.
Yeah. All right, good. Great to get a really rational sort of perspective on it, rather than these sort of inflammatory sort of ideas around AI and sort of, I guess, the dangers that come with it. Andy, one of the things that you talk about is organizations becoming AI native. Now, you might have discussed some of this with your 4 tenets and things like that, but maybe you can sort of summarize it a bit there, or was it sort of something quite different? Because I always think that big AI native or cloud native or sort of data native, etc., is typically reserved for startups who don't have big legacies, corporate complications and things like that. How could a big organization, sort of enterprise level, Altron being one of those, become AI native, having had so much history of not being AI native?
Right. Yeah, look, and look, the tenants is just kind of how we've decided to measure it. But for me, an AI native organization is one that embraces AI as a tool, as a fundamental tool that it can use to, improve its, or empower its employees or its workforce, and then deliver better value to its customers. If you think about it, a company that uses AI in that way, in the long run, will do better than a company that does not. It's just that it's at a fundamental level. If you're truly empowering employees, if I've got better employees that know how to sell better than yours, can deliver products better than yours, can respond to issues quicker than yours, I'll do better than you in the long run, right? All things being equal. So that's what we mean by AI native. And it's a process, right? Just because one can, you can Google AI native, it's such a popular term now, but it is a process. It doesn't mean you throw away everything you're doing right now. Again, you take a very rational approach. It's about how do I consistently move towards a space where I can improve things, empower my employees, run my business a lot better by leveraging AI. The way I like to think of it is this way, that all applications, if you think about it, they run on infrastructure and they have data, and the apps are the rules that we program to manipulate that data, right? Whether it is to generate an invoice or to run an ERP system, it doesn't matter, right? Fundamentally, all enterprise apps are that. They've got infrastructure, which includes networking, compute, storage, etc. They've got data that you need to operate on. Some data is coming in, some data is coming out, and then you've got some rules that a programmer has to program to be able to do certain things. If you think about AI, all it's done is it's automated the rule generation, right, to manipulate that data, right? So the data coming in and the data coming out, you no longer have to necessarily write that transformation manually yourself. You can depend on an AI agent to be able to do that, right? So that's fundamentally all that's happening. For me, that's what AI native is. It's about identifying spaces where manually written rules that might have some constraints, etc., could be replaced by some more automated rules to manipulate that data so that you can still deliver value to your customers.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I think getting there and sort of a segue into our next section of the conversation is obviously some of these things need to be piloted, right? It's not sort of just a big bang approach and it's going to go into every part of the organization without testing and seeing where some of the challenges are, etc. You talk about Pilot Purgatory, and this sounds like a place where airline pilots go if they're bad. But that's obviously not what you mean. What do you mean by Pilot Purgatory?
We recently ran a roundtable with our customers, largely from the FSI space in Sandton, and 90%. Look, I'm being generous by saying 90%. It's probably everybody in the room. I just want to make sure I leave room for that one excellent. There's always an exception. But most of our customers just have POCs. Very little is in production, and very little that is in production is scalable. In other words, the costs just get way too high, and then you end up in a space where you have to shut it down. And again, I think it's because of the way that we are thinking about AI. We've got a new hammer, and so we're going out trying to smash things, right? And in the process of that, we are causing a lot of chaos and distraction. I think if you think about it as a tool, to unleash human potential, as a tool that can potentially help you to transform your data, you can actually start to see light at the end of the tunnel. So for instance, I want to clean my data. Well, maybe you should leverage AI to help you to be able to do that. I don't know how to, create an ontology for my enterprise data. Well, maybe AI could be a tool that can be applied, to help you to do that. In fact, within Altron, we've developed a tool that does exactly that, where we can go in and create data dictionaries and an ontology, for further use in enterprise applications automatically, and we do that by leveraging AI. So that's not a thing that needs to run forever. It's not an app in and of itself, right? That needs to run. It's trying to achieve a purpose. I want to clean my data, create a single view of customer because I want to serve my customer better. I want to know where the gaps in servicing my customers are so that I can go in and close that gap, right? So that's the ultimate goal. The goal is not to have an app in production for the sake of saying I have an app in production. And I think that's why you have this pilot purgatory, is that people just try to have things in POC and in production, and then see whether it will do something or not do something. And I think that's completely the wrong approach. The right approach is, how do I make my beer taste better? And can I leverage this tool to help me, make my beer taste better? If you can link those activities to the outcomes, and then the payment of, from the customer for those outcomes, then intrinsically you've solved the business case issue, right? That's what you've done. So we just don't see a lot of that happening. And it's the same, by the way, with cloud. If you remember earlier in the days when cloud was not mature, and I think it is a maturity thing. I think over time, organizations will realize this. But cloud, we just threw everything at cloud, right? And costs went up, and it became a spiral, and it almost became cloud for the sake of cloud, and we forgot, like, what are we trying to do? We're trying to, deliver this app service a lot quicker, better, that it's got better uptime, and then you can, align those things towards the business case, and then maybe cloud could be a tool, one of the tools you could use to help you to do that. So that's what we've seen is a better outcome. And again, if you think about it in terms of empowering employees and empowering your leadership, you don't have to have things in pilot purgatory. For us, it's not we don't have a pilot, but our leadership is empowered with AI tools right now. They use it every single day as part of their decision-making processes. Again, because we are seeing it as a tool to unleash our leadership's potential, and not some app we need to deploy in some cloud environment, etc. So I think it's such a change of mindset that I think will come with time as people start to figure out how to use it.
I remember years ago, it was probably like pre-COVID, roundtables, various things. It was more about predictive analytics and some of the models, and how some of those would just end up, being POCs and never actually go into production and anything like that. And I remember a lot of the reasons behind that were that they weren't co-created with the sort of end business user. They were just kind of pushed on, hey, we've created this cool product, use it. And people were like, we didn't ask for that, we're not going to use it. Why would we? It was not created here, we didn't ask for it, it's not really solving a problem. Is it the same with AI? It's kind of like, okay, everyone's doing AI, here's the model, here's the tool for it, and people are like, well, we don't really need it. Why?
Correct.
What's the value for us? And that it kind of stalls, like that product is there, but no one's actually utilized. It kind of sits on the side, and people are like, well, I don't want to touch that because I didn't ask for it, I'm going to just carry on doing it the way I've always done it. And I guess it comes down to the education and sort of understanding if it's going to add value to the business user or not. It's exactly like that. I think the people that will succeed in this technological age that we're in, right, where AI is now more prominent, are product managers, product owners, and those IT professionals that are really deeply connected to the product. Because what's the difference, right? If I'm just a general technologist, I'm excited by new technology, the new shiny things. I want to go out and procure it and play with it, etc. Right? And there's value in that, right? Like, never get me wrong, I am a CTO, so it's great to play with new technology. You want to keep abreast with that. I think there is some intrinsic value in that, but we shouldn't overvalue it, right? It's not what makes our beer necessarily taste better. What does make our beer taste better is, how do we make the product that we are selling to our customer do better? And if some of it can be done quicker or better or faster using AI, then that's the right use case to follow, right? So that's almost the slipstream that we need to figure out. And I think product owners and product managers that have a deep relationship and an ear to the ground to what their customers are struggling with, potentially have a nice opportunity to link that technology opportunity, with the outcomes that they're looking for. And that's why for us, we believe that, you can use AI to unlock human potential. So previously, as a product manager, to launch a new feature that does X, Y, Z might potentially have taken you, 6 months of development with so much sprints, etc. When now with AI, potentially you could deliver that faster and get your customer satisfaction up a lot quicker. That's really the secret sauce. There's really nothing else. Fundamentally, what companies do hasn't changed. So the guy that delivers the best value is still going to get paid the most. So and have the best tasting beer.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And yeah, I think that's a good place to leave this episode. I know like the notes and stuff that we've got probably warrants another episode, which we'll organize and put out for the people. But fascinating start to the conversation. I think it's definitely covered some of the practical areas that people need to understand from an AI perspective. Obviously, anybody watching, if you want more information, reach out to Andy on LinkedIn and the team and all that. But yeah, great conversation. Thanks, Andy. And we'll look forward to the next episode.
Thanks so much, Craig. Have a good one. Cheers.
All right, thanks. You too. Cheers. Bye.
All right.